Okay, this one takes a little bit of thought. We need to set up the equation before we solve it. So Stephen wants to buy a $600 bicycle. Stephen has no money saved, but he will be able to deposit $30 into his savings account when he receives his paycheck each Friday. So $30 is going to go in each Friday. I'm going to guess we're going to have something like 30 times the number of weeks to find out a number for that, okay? Now, however, before Stephen can buy the bike, he must give his sister $90 that he owes her. Okay, so for how many weeks will Stephen need to deposit money into his savings account before he can pay his sister back? And I'm going to define the variable first. I'm going to say let W equal the number of weeks that Stephen saves. Money, because why not? Okay. So what I'm going to say here then is watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say, okay, he's going to save $30 for some number of weeks, right? $30 a week times the number of weeks that he saves. And that's going to give him the amount of money that he's saving, okay? So what he's got to do is he's got to take all that money that he saves, and the first thing he's got to do is he's got to subtract 90 from it because he owes his sister $90. So he can't keep all of this money. He's got to do $30 a week for some number of weeks until he gets enough money where he can take away 90 from it, and then whatever's left is equal to the $600 that he needs for the bike. Yeah? Another way of looking at that, and you can see it if you were to add 90 from both sides, would be watch what happens. This is just another way you could have written it initially. I'm actually starting to solve this, okay, by saying plus 90 to both sides. But watch what results here. You then get 30 W equals 690, because what you could have said is $30 a week times the number of weeks equals 600 for the bike plus 90 for the money that he owes his sister, and that would have equaled 30W equals 690, okay? And then you can say, okay, now we do 30W divided by 30 equals 690 divided by 30, or W equals what? Now, let's do this math over here on the side. Actually, let's see if I can do this right. We zoom in here. Okay, I'm going to do the math down here. We're doing 690 divided by 30. Okay, so we've got 690 divided by 30. And there's a fun fact about this, which is we could divide both sides by 10. Looking at this fraction again for a second, here, we could divide top and bottom by 10 to get 69 over 3. Okay, so an equivalent equation for this would be 3 simply into 69, which makes it a little bit easier. Okay, just smaller numbers. So they're equivalent amounts. We don't have to change our answer when we get an answer. It's going to be exactly the same as what we wanted it to be. So 3 goes into 6 twice, to 0, bring down the 9. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Oops, that is 9. And we get 23. So I'm going to erase this work here. And we say, okay, that means then that W equals 23. And you could say, Stephen needs to deposit $30 a week into his savings account for 23 weeks. That is the answer to the question that was asked. And by the way, I see this happening with a bunch of kids doing a word problem and then forgetting that you're actually trying to find an answer to a word problem. So then they're writing the number and not saying what that number represents. You need to go one step further with word problems and say what the question is or the answer is actually answering.